Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Now in this video I want to talk about the Quinton Tellis murder trial. Now he's accused of killing Jessica Chambers by setting her on fire. Now this case was crazy to me. I said I was going to wait a few days before I actually give my opinions on it, because I said this is going to be a case where I have to listen to this all the way through before I say he's innocent or guilty. You know, before I make that final decision for myself that he's innocent or guilty, because I like to put myself in the shoes of the juror. You know, the jurors are actually sitting here listening to all the evidence, and then afterwards they're going to have to go back to the deliberating room to actually decide his fate, whether he's innocent or guilty. Now, of course, he's claiming that he's totally innocent. But, you know, I was saying to myself, you know, the state, I don't know if they're going to be able to get past the fact that she said someone by the name of Eric or Derek did this to her, because a few witnesses, first responders, they said they heard her say Eric, and there was a police officer. He testified and said, "Do you know who I am?" She said yes, and he also said that he heard the name Eric. So I thought this was particularly troubling for the prosecution side, and I thought that actually helped the defense, because if I'm a juror, you know, I have to take that in consideration. Actually, they did mention it. It's called the dying declaration or something like that. So they have to take that in consideration. But up until today, you know, but before today, you know, I watched the police interrogation video with Quinton Tellis, and by looking at that video, I was like, he's hiding something and he's lying. That's my first impressions from it. And I watched the video twice. I said, this kid is lying. You know, he said that he had this guy Big Mike's truck, and then they had him on video, and then he didn't have Big Mike's truck, and then he said he was at this place. Then they caught him dead to rights on that. So I'm like, this kid is guilty, but I'm not sure still, just because I had this name Eric in my mind. But there was also another investigator yesterday, and I believe he was on today as well. He said they actually ruled that person out, you know, as a possible suspect. So I'm like, okay, you know, but that name is still in my mind until today. Today, it was very interesting because they had trial on Saturday, and they're also going to have trial tomorrow, Sunday. You know, the jury, they're sequestered, so I guess it's advantageous to continue this case, you know, to speed this up as quickly as they can to get the jurors back home because they're sequestered. And I must say that the state and the defense, they're moving right along. You know, they're asking the questions, you know, they're straightforward. This case is actually moving along very nicely. That's just in my opinion. But getting back to the police interrogation video, I thought his answers were all over the place. He was stretching. It seemed like he was uncomfortable. You could tell. I just said, this kid is lying. He's hiding something. But then I'm like, if he did do it, what was his motive to kill her? Because they showed text messages today, you know, saying he was saying to her that he wanted to have sex with her. Then he claimed he did have sex with her, and they were seen on the video earlier that day. He was seen with her. So I'm like, what would be the motive here? Was it a robbery? Was it was he trying to make sexual advances towards her and she fought him off? Because another thing I almost forgot, when the car was on fire, when the responders showed up to put the fire out, she was actually walking. She was still alive. I'm like, man, this case is crazy. It actually really bothered me, actually, because I'm like, what will possess someone to do this? What would possess someone to do this to a female? Like, I just really, that's one of the things about this case that I struggle with. But she was still alive. And so I'm like, okay, and I'm getting back to this. I'm trying to go through, I went through every scenario that I can go through. Did he try to make sexual advances towards her? Was it a fight? Were they gonna have sex, but at the end, right before they started, did she say no? Did he choke her out? Because the medical examiner testified and said that, you know, for a person that suffered the injuries that she did, she couldn't wrap around her brain that this young lady was still alive. So it makes me believe that she was unconscious at the time, you know, Quinton allegedly set her on fire. And then at some point she came to, And then I don't know, then I'm like, how did she put herself out of, how did she stop the fire? I don't know. This is all the things that I be thinking about in this case. This case is crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. But even with all of that, even when his story's all over the place, the Eric still stood out in my mind. I honestly think he participated, but I'm like, did he have help? Did this person named Eric or Derek, did they help him? Until today, when they were going over the cell phone information and the pings, and when they had the video surveillance, I'm honestly thinking they got him here. I think the state did a good job today. And then they also mentioned after a certain time, I believe it was after 7:43, Quinton Tellis never communicated with Jessica Chambers again. I think he actually sent her a text message saying that he had to cancel out. But the video footage that they showed doesn't support that. Even though we don't have any video footage past a certain point, but then they showed him again later at the store again. He had changed his outfit. It's just pointing, it doesn't look good for him, but the defense is trying to build their case over people named Eric or Derek being considered suspects. And when the defense was cross-examining, I was like, how come they don't explore, like, well, what did you guys do to rule these people out? Like, give us the process on how you ruled Eric and Derek out. Like, could you go more into detail? They didn't do that, which makes me believe that they feel like their client is caught dead to rights now. It's just a matter of formality. But what say you? This is where I'm asking you now. How do you feel if you watch the case today? How do you feel about his chances now? I think he's going to be found guilty. At first, I thought it was either going to be a hung jury or, believe it or not guilty. I don't think so now. I think today's testimony by the state was very damaging for the defense. And I also think that the prosecutor did an excellent job today, and the witness did an excellent job as well, painting that picture. They did a hell of a job creating the timeline that we all were waiting for. The pieces came together with that timeline. I'm going to say he's guilty. That's just my opinion. Like, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to wait to see if they're going to have more witnesses or whatever. I'm just going to wait to see what the defense is going to do. When they present their case, we'll see. But at this point, it doesn't look good for them. But I would like to know your opinions on this. If you've been watching the case, I would like to hear from you. And, we'll share our thoughts there. All right, guys, if you like my videos, please share. And also don't forget to hit the subscription button. Until next video, take care.